Hello everybody out there on the internet, and Aimless Babel Z is back with our Aimless news for the week of March 12th, 2014. I'm Taking Master, joined by.
RPG Maniac 05?
And Trioptical.
So, should we start with the Watch Dogs thing or do something else?
We could, because I
I
don't know
mean,
what
the
that
thing is,
is.
like, yeah, the news stuff is pretty light. I mean, for some reason, there was issues with both gaming networks this week. PlayStation Network had maintenance on Monday, and then store updates usually happen on Tuesday, and they've been pretty consistent late afternoon until yesterday when that didn't happen. And then they said, okay, we're shooting for Wednesday, and as of the recording, that is not done yet either.
And it's like almost 8 o'clock my time, and I'm like the latest one here, or the earliest one here, something like that. However time works with this.
He will
shenanigans.
Didn't he used to be real people time? What is he now?
I did.
He's no longer real people time.
Yeah.
I like
Fake
living
people
the
time
past
because he's
now.
in the
Weird.
land of the plastic people.
God, they are plastic. It is so ridiculous. How it's like funny.
But yeah, so that's kind of strange. On the other side, Xbox Live, like everyone thought that it might have issues because Titanfall being multiplayer online only, and it's by EA has a hand in that, and we also saw what happened with Battlefield, and so everyone thought, okay, there's going to be issues. What
Quick,
I guess they didn't expect was all the issues. None of them have to do with what you think. Like, apparently, the only issue is that Xbox Live seems to be down, and just people can't log into it. And so, apparently, the Titanfall servers are fine. But then again, if you think about it, of course they are, because no one can log on to
That's what I'm saying.
them.
It's there.
So yeah, it's been a weird week for that sort of stuff.
Did
Titanfall is
Titanfall have
not.
like a really big collector's edition or something?
Yes, a
Okay.
gigantic collector's edition.
Because when I was at the midline launch or whatever, I saw like one guy like walk. It was like this huge cube thing that was like
Yo.
bigger than half his body. And I was like, what could they possibly have in there? It's like, did they
It's
give a Titan away with the damn thing? Like,
It's
what
a
is
Titan
this?
statue that
Oh,
lights
well,
up.
then they really did get
But yeah.
a Titan with it.
Apparently, it doesn't fit into the back of a compact sedan. So
It's a really big
yeah,
box.
like you can't get it into the back seat. I think
'Cause
you have
it's
to
not-
use your trunk.
because it's a cube. It's not like you couldn't. I feel like no one would be able to get that through their door unless, or their card, I should say. It was like a really big box. I saw the kid holding it. I was like, what could they possibly have in there? And I thought it was the console bundle because the guy behind me was talking about it or whatever.
Oh.
And then then somebody actually came out with the console like shortly after that and is like, no, I think that's the console bundle. I'm not sure what that other thing was.
Smaller.
It's like, it's a
It
lot
was
smaller.
$250 Titanfall collector's edition.
It's like ridiculous. I only saw two people with it, by the way, out of like the 100 and something of us that were there. So I don't think a lot of
Pretty
people ordered that.
pricey.
Yeah, I was saying, a lot of people did not order a $200 game for that. A lot of people were getting Dark Souls though, which is weird because I expected most people to be there for Titanfall. That was not the case.
Well, do I want to pay $500 for this console,
I even-
one
I-
game, or just get another game for the console I already have?
I actually even seen people like walking out with two copies, which I was like, why? Why are you buying two copies of Dark Souls right
The
now?
Tekken disease spreads.
Is that what it is? Because
They
I'm like,
must, they must learn the young Padawans
it's like,
that one is just enough, and there's no difference on both. So
yeah, but you double dipped on like multiple consoles
That
when
was a
then
long
at
time
different
ago.
times.
That was a long time ago.
They were double
Change
dipping
man.
on the same night on the same console. So it's like, I hope you were giving that to somebody because otherwise it's like, what are you doing? What are you doing right now? What are you doing? What are you doing?
Maybe they were. They're like, this game will change your life. Play it.
It might, and by change your life, it might make you consider murder. So, just be warned.
Apparently, actually, well, that's a side news story. Some Fox News was reporting that Dark Souls was the cause of some murder thing because it was like, oh, it's like a cult, demon worshipping.
Sad, strangely enough, though, there are not many demons at all in any of these games.
That's why it's called Dark Souls. And the first one was like demons, souls, and both of them were plural, and
In some weird thing, and
it
yeah,
was really
it's-
weird.
yeah.
But yeah, so if people were expecting that Titanfall would be the game to finally launch as an online game with everything working 100% on the day it came out,
Haha, JK.
it is not that game.
So yeah,
The other news story. Well, GDC is next week, and Edge is reporting that Sony is going to show off a VR headset at GDC, and apparently developers already have it.
Oh man. Oh man.
So
One step closer to the bodysuit era. I called it 2 years ago.
Do
What
people
they're
not
saying-
learn from stuff like Dot Hack and Sword Art Online? These are terrible things to do, guys. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Drop.
But yeah, apparently it's pretty amazing, and but like Sony isn't going around and sort of mandating that people have to use it. So what?
Microsoft.
Because like they think that it's sort of a new playing ground, and developers are sort of, especially the big ones, are probably more hesitant to invest a lot of money in something that not a lot of people are going to have. So a lot of them, as I understand, or as they report, are sort of waiting to see what Sony's studios are going to make of it, and they think that there's probably going to be something playable at GDC, even if it's just a tech demo.
So what's
And-
the appeal of this VR stuff, though? I don't know.
So-
Maybe it's just me, but I just never. I see people always like, "Oh, this is so great to do stuff in this thing in first person," but I'm like, why?
It's pretty crazy. Like when you put it on, and well, again, like I guess I haven't experienced the new one, but apparently it's really similar to the old one, except we have better graphics now. So, like, yeah, me and Tekken, we were talking about we played that really old VR thing with the really low poly stuff
Mhm.
at the arcade or something years and years ago, and like it is sort of neat. Instead of using this abstraction, the right stick to control your camera, you just use your head. And yeah, I guess it's the immersion thing that people have been chasing.
Ew.
Immersion is like this is more immersive, but yeah, like people aren't really sure. Well, so the hands-on impressions of like Oculus Rift, people are like, "Wow, this is much more exciting than next-gen consoles." Before the next-gen consoles came out, they were just saying because like if you think about it, the next-gen consoles are just it's like more, and you have this sharing thing, which is turning out to be a big deal, but it's like more of what we had before. And VR, when you put it on, immediately, like it's pretty obvious, like this is really different than what we had before. And so people are saying, yeah, VR is the next thing. But it's sort of ignoring, like, well, exactly, why do we want it? What is it going to enable that we can't do right now on a screen? And that's all stuff that we haven't figured out yet. And so, one of the reasons that's exciting that PlayStation is doing this is that, PlayStation has the brand name. They got this giant install base on PS4 right now. They're the big guns. Like Oculus Rift, yes, they have a lot of money, but they're sort of new, and we really don't know anything about them.
True.
And so, with someone like PlayStation moving into this, perhaps that will give it the boost that it needs to become something that more ubiquitous than it is now.
Just like, and I also wonder, like, how does this work for people who, I guess, like, have like motion sickness and stuff like that, or people
yeah.
like me who are like horribly afraid of heights or something, stuff like that, give you like anxiety attacks or something, because it's like,
That's one of the problems right now. Like, well, especially the motion thing, because they figured it out. It's like if it's there's this disconnect between what your internal sensors, like your inner ear, feels and what you see, and that causes the motion sickness. And so I read an article about Valve's version of this thing, and they have like marker. One of their solutions was like, oh, you could put markers in the room, and then the VR headset sort of has cameras, and so it locates itself in the room. Like, by looking at the markers on the wall, it can tell where the walls are and thus figure out where the VR headset is. And so there was a demo where the guy was like, the VR demo was the room that he was actually in. So he was in a simulated version of the room that he was actually standing in with the VR headset on.
Mm.
And because of the location tracking for the headset, it didn't have that disconnect that the current versions of Oculus Rift have, where it doesn't know where it is, and then so you have the disconnect between your brain knows where you are, but your eyes are telling you something different, and then that gives you motion sickness. And so this one didn't have that. I was like, oh. So, but yeah, there are lots of issues that need to be fixed before it can be a really big thing. But
Yeah,
still,
the one
like,
thing for me is like, I'd like to see its applications outside of things that are like, just specifically a first person experience. It's like, beyond that, what can it do? Because it's like that seems like it could be limiting. But I mean, there's probably other stuff you could do just like right now. It's like everybody's like, oh, well, blah, 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 blah. But it's like, dude, I am so burnt and like jaded. I don't give a F about any more FPS, even if it is, oh, VR, more immersive. It's like,
Wait, but then what would even be the point though? Because it's like,
if it's not first person,
yeah.
because I mean, like I understand, like I know there are like other things they could probably do with it, but I just feel like
It's virtual reality RPG. You can do anything. You can just dream of it and it happens.
well,
I'm
just
saying, like, I
imagine-
feel like when I don't know.
So, if it's not first person, say you're playing Uncharted, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so in the way that we've played Uncharted, you sit down, you have a glowing rectangle in front of you, and it's flat. And then it sort of has this illusion of depth.
You
because
make TV sound so terrible when you say it like that.
well, but like you have
Sheesh.
this illusion of depth. Drake is somewhere behind, inside of this glowing rectangle, and then beyond that there's jungle or whatever. But with a VR headset, imagine it would be you still see Drake in front of you, but the jungle is all around you.
Actually, there was something in the latest PBS game video where they talked about like the amount of distance you are from your screen, and like there's something called like that's called something, and like that effect, and how it's like when you're like that's why when you're playing PC versus when you're playing console with the keyboard and mouse, you're like that much closer to the screen, and it just feels different.
Yeah.
But it would be like that effect.
Would it
Like
be
even
that
if you're
effect?
playing something that's not a first person, like you would have like
Right.
just more immersed in the experience.
But yeah,
You'd
like
be
they
all
could,
up in it.
they could do things like that. So instead of controlling the camera as we normally do with the right stick, you could sort of just look with your head and your face and just like look around in that environment.
Mm.
So it would be like you are the camera.
Ew!
And
Don't
you're
say things like
watching-
that.
You're watching the third person, action happen in front of you, but you can pause and look behind you and look at all the scenery and stuff. I don't know.
Or you can be like Navi in a Legend of Zelda game. Because I know we've always wanted to have that experience. Don't act like you don't. Don't act like you don't. Like, hey, Link, listen.
Can we say other stuff?
No. You're not. It's not how this works. Optical. You're immersed in their world. They're not immersed in yours. You will be an annoying fairy and like it.
So yeah, VR stuff, if it's happening, and there have been really sure rumors before that didn't pan out, so this may not happen next week, but maybe.
But it may.
Exactly. Yeah, so let's move on to the Watchdog thing, because that's an interesting topic, and RPG can figure out what it is.
Because I would like to know.
Basically, so Watchdogs, we saw it a lot at E3 two years ago.
Action consoles are like, ooh, what's that right now? It looks so amazing.
Yeah.
Blurred lines.
And then we saw it again when we thought it was coming out, and then they delayed it. and then we just didn't see anything of it until last week when they announced a release date and they showed sort of, I think it was like the first story footage that we've seen. I mean, all the previous trailers just talked about, oh, what if the city was all controlled by a computer, and what if a guy had control of that computer, and then it was just a guy running around controlling the city and doing just random stuff. And then this trailer was actually like apparently he was married and some stuff went down, and
what was this rating?
there's like revenge and human trafficking going on, and yeah, so
Those are the best stories to call revenge tales. Yes, well, some of the best.
Are they the? I was about to say,
Count of Monte Cristo, dude, just saying. Delicious.
but yeah, so I didn't notice this at all. I don't think Tekken noticed this at all, but apparently there was this huge explosion, this outcry that Watch Dogs doesn't look good anymore, sort of graphically speaking. And there have been lots of comparison videos online, and people are just saying, yeah, look, they delayed the game, then they downgraded the visuals for some reason.
whoops.
And so there's a lot of people who are upset about that. There's other people who are like, well, sometimes that happens, and we really don't know what trade-offs were made.
And then, like, even when they did show, like, the PS3 and 360 version, everybody was like, oh, it looks terrible, it looks terrible. It's
and
like, compared to ...
Yeah, I don't really see it. Well, so my first theory was, like, when we originally saw it, and I think this is true for a lot of next gen, or like, yeah, I'm calling PS4 and Xbox One next gen.
Why is my question?
PS3 and 360 last gen.
Wait,
and
what?
I just have no current gen right now. Because the thing is, like, we are kind of we're in between right now.
That doesn't make sense.
It does make sense.
That just means like there's like no gen that exists right now. We're like in a I don't like this tropical. I don't like this.
There are last gen games and there are next gen games, but there are no current gen games because we haven't really moved. Like,
someone needs to die first.
Exactly. Like, I think there are good arguments for calling either one of them current gen. Like, most of the exciting games coming out right now are coming out on PS3 and Xbox 360. But clearly the PS4 and Xbox One exist, so shouldn't we call them current gen? It's like, well, I'm just like, no. Next gen and last gen.
Yeah, on today's address this Adam Sessler talked about that were like, publishers and developers are so risk averse, where it's like, that's why you see so much stuff still on PS3 360, whereas it's not on PS4 and Xbox One. Like, you look at Dark Souls, you look at GTA 5, you look at all the stuff that came out last year, like Origins and Borderlands 2 and all the, or that's not last year, I'm sorry, Tomb Raider coming out after the fact and being all remastered, and it's like, well, they don't know if it's going to be worth it to make another version, if it'll sell or not, because you don't have that many PS4s and Xbox Ones in the wild, man, and the risks are high, and you could just tank, and your studio's over, and your publisher's bankrupt like THQ, and it's doom and gloom for the industry. It's all okay. You didn't say that, but I'm just extrapolating from that
Tekken's interpretation once again. So.
Well, I think another thing is, like, development cycles are so long. So back 2 years ago, which is when the games that are coming out now were starting development, chances are they looked at it and they looked at historical data. So it's like, okay, what is a launch console's install base going to be? And it was probably something like 1 million or 2 million. And they're just like, yeah, the attach rate is not going to be 100%. So we're going to get like 10% attach or 12% attach. So that's 120,000 copies. Like, that's not worth it. But I'm thinking a lot of them are thinking now, it's like, maybe we should have made a next gen version.
Yeah, it's because like PS4 and Xbox One come through and like smash all the records.
Yeah, it's like, it's not 2 million, it's 10 million.
It's like the core is stronger than it's ever been.
So,
dude, that should be like the theme of this gen, is like the core strikes back. I just called it like The Empire Strikes Back, but it's not The Empire. Get it?
Yeah, we got it.
It's a happy
Thanks for
ending.
explaining.
Yeah, with the happy ending. Where the casuals are frozen and put in carbonite, and we're like, sorry.
Bye.
Oh, did it have a bad ending? Was that the last movie in the series?
That's the second.
Yeah.
Oh.
So,
This could have a good
And
ending.
Nintendo's like, wait, no, come back.
Oh.
So I think Dark Souls, it could possibly end up on next gen. Maybe.
I would be pissed
like Tomb Raider.
because
That's what,
I would
Obsessed
have
said.
just waited. I would have waited.
Because there's, there is some incentive right now.
That's kind of why I'm taking the whole year off thing. Just like,
Yeah,
because, why
like-
would I want to buy a game and 12 months later, oh, here's your Ultimate Edition.
Because like every developer has an engine that runs on PC, and the new consoles are sort of PCs. So the jump from that to the new consoles is probably not as big as before. And the install base is actually not that bad.
And continuing to grow. The horde grows
Yep.
stronger.
So yeah, I mean, you look at it, really successful games, I think there is incentive. Like before, I would have said GTA 5 on PS4, unlikely. But now I'm thinking, it's like, I think they may actually look at that and be like, this is worth it. So when they do their collection later, there possibly will be a next-gen version. It won't be extremely different from the last-gen version, but it will exist. So anyway, yeah, the Watch Dogs thing, I think the effect that makes games look next-gen, or that everyone has decided makes games look next-gen, is rain-soaked surfaces. You think about the original Watch Dogs trailer. It was in the rain. You look at Metal Gear Solid. It was in the rain.
Because that's like the first thing everybody notices. Like, why does everything look so slick and shiny? It's like
so slick. Like Battlefield, the first gameplay was that boat one on the aircraft carrier in the storm. It was raining. Tomb Raider, they showed off new rain. Infamous takes place in Seattle because it rains a lot there.
I'm about to say. I was apparently.
And so I'm wondering, like, how much of the Watch Dogs footage not looking good now has to do with the new footage is not in the rain and the original footage was.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think
I agree.
on the rain thing?
I mean, that was one of the things that like just blew me away. I was just like, wow, those weather effects so good.
Everything's so wet.
Also, The Division, not in the rain, but snow, because it was
Yep.
cold.
Yeah,
It was like
precipitation.
a bunch of bums shooting each other in the winter.
Yeah, I don't. So, why do you think Watch Dogs was delayed?
Because maybe it
Maybe
didn't
they
look
couldn't
next
get it
gen
out on
enough.
Wii U, and they didn't want to make Nintendo mad twice in a row with like after the Rayman thing. So it's like,
Wait.
ugh.
But they didn't. They're not. It's not gonna be on the Wii U regardless, is it?
Yeah, it got delayed.
It's
beyond
delayed
the,
further.
other
Oh, by the way,
versions.
the release date is May 27th, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That much I did see. But I mean, I don't know. Because I haven't seen any of these like video comparison videos or anything you're talking about. Because I mean, I wasn't like following Watch Dogs or anything. Because I mean, when I saw it at first, I was like, oh, this may be interesting. And then it was like, yeah, but then I've played Assassin's Creed. Yeah, it's like,
That's what I think happened. I think they were going to have an Assassin's Creed 1 situation, and they weren't sure that the audience now would be as forgiving as they were back then. Because back
we
when
aren't.
back when Assassin's Creed came out, the problems
I remember
were
defeating that game.
painfully obvious.
Yeah, I remember
And
you
yet-
defending that
Yeah,
game.
and yet there were people who liked it.
I liked it.
You shouldn't
And-
have.
I think like the reason there were no Watch Dogs story trailers and why they kept showing us kind of similar stuff from Watch Dogs is because that's all there was. They had come up with this amazing system where you could do all this stuff with the city, and it was really interactive, but there was no game. And that's basically what I felt was the problem with the first Assassin's Creed. It was like, yeah, they made this amazing system where, draw distances and you can climb up every building, but that was it. And yeah, this time I think they were like, we got lucky. Assassin's Creed turned out okay as a franchise. We cannot do that again.
I hadn't thought about that, Tropical. That's a pretty good argument to make.
So, I don't know. What else is there to say about Watch Dogs? Well, okay. So when you saw this, did you watch the story trailer?
No.
Oh, neither of you watched the story trailer.
It.
Oh, you watched it?
Yeah.
What?
I did.
What did you think? Because like last week we were saying, if Watch Dogs appears and it's sort of what we've seen before, then it's not enough. Was this enough?
Well, it's weird because I went from like being high on it to being low on it to like not thinking it's as bad as everybody says it is. So I would say it I don't know if I'm gonna say it's enough. It's just it is different than what they've been showing. So I guess it is enough.
Yeah, I gotta say, like, I was kind of excited by that trailer. I was like, oh, this is what it's about. Before it was just about in a world, and yeah, that was it. And so now there's like, oh, there's a story.
I like stories.
So are you gonna play the trailer now, Tropical?
What was that?
Are you gonna play the trailer now?
What do you mean?
Oh,
you can play the trailer?
Yeah,
or
with OBS.
play the
Oh.
trailer.
You play the trailer now, and you can judge for yourself on the internet. And hold on, my OBS is being dumb.
Way to drop the ball.
Talk amongst yourself while I try to get this to work.
So Tropical, how's life? Been
Busy.
I mean, what'd you expect? I told you not to spawn. Wow. You never listen.
Wow, that's weird. No, yeah, it's busy. I want to do so much stuff. I think that's the worst part. And it was funny. I compared it to being in prison or in the army, in that you can't do the things you want to do.
Well, you can't.
Alright, I got it working. Let me just load up the video now,
Just.
and then we can watch it.
Oh, it's like movie time.
Alright, here's the Watch Dogs trailer. Let's check it out. I'm going to mute myself now so I don't make any weird noises.
Should we do that too?
Peggy 18.
Wait, that's not an American rating.
I was the best at what I did. A hacker. A thief. I got in, got out. No one got hurt. Until I discovered something I was never meant to see. That's when they came for me, but killed her. Now, I'm coming for them.
Am I the only one who finds his voice hilarious? It's just me.
Someone ordered a hit on me. Whatever's in those files will lead me to them.
You want revenge? This phone can turn the city into a weapon.
I think her voice is weirder.
It kind of
Your men
is.
are
Yeah.
expendable, Mr. Rack. My empire is not. Don't forget who runs this city. Trillions of bots with information at your fingertips.
You want to tell me what's going on?
Corporate espionage,
I love espionage.
crooked cops,
I'm just terrible at it.
big explosions, honey.
I heard stories, man, that like nothing you ever seen before.
Okay, we got a bunch of dead bodies, right? We got 40,000 people above us. We need a distraction.
I want a name in that server.
Suspect behind the wheel.
So you're the shit raining down on me. You're interfering with my plans.
You took something valuable from me. Where are they?
I love how dramatic it is.
Like a movie trailer.
I know, that's what I was thinking.
This is
So
huge.
dramatic.
You gotta walk away from this, man.
Some things you can't walk away from.
Alrighty.
That reminded me. So it was all like in engine or
Yeah.
in game in engine, right?
Yeah.
It's like why do you think the Arkham Knight announcement trailer was all CG? Is it just tradition?
Because it looks
Maybe
awesome.
it's in game drop to call. Maybe
No,
I was wrong.
Tekken, stop it.
I want to
No.
believe RPG.
No.
It's nice to want things and I want it to be true. That it's in game footage. Oh.
You
I mean,
wouldn't
I
in-game
think
like
the
that
game
until the
will
next
look
gen.
really good, but it's just yeah, it's kind of weird. Maybe because they want to keep it all secret.
That too. Secret.
Because the thing is, like, after you've read the stuff on Arkham Knight, you realize that some of the stuff that they showed in the trailer, even though it was, pre-rendered, it was like hinting at gameplay mechanics. So when he ejects out of the Batmobile, it's like that's something that you can do in the game, and he like counter and threw that guy against those other guys. It's like that's a new move that they added to the game. And grabbing a guy's countering a guy's weapon attack, he doesn't immediately throw away the weapon. He actually uses it on other guys, and like that's part of the game.
Could just be tradition, because the other ones were just so awesome. And unlike some other developers I will not name, they can actually show CG and then show in game, or actually not even show in game and be like show CG and then you get the game and it's like, oh wow, it's just as awesome as the trailer. So.
It's true. Well, actually, I guess the first Arkham Asylum they didn't do that, right? In Arkham Asylum, the first trailer was actually in game. It was Batman taking Joker to the asylum, right? And it was like that scene with the door opening, and he's talking with Gordon, and then
I think you're right.
Joker takes over the asylum.
Yeah, I think you're right. There's no CG in
Yeah.
the first one.
The second one had the two CG trailers, I think, and then we got the awesome in-game one. Don't know. Maybe it's the production schedule. It's not ready for in-game stuff, and they are Warner Brothers, so why not make a digital cartoon version?
Also, I just want to say it was funny listening to you two talk during the trailer. It was kind of like Mystery Science Theater 3000. His voice sounds funny. Her voice sounds funnier. This is so dramatic.
I mean, yeah, the trailer was pretty dramatic. It even had like the movie theater or the movie trailer music to go with it and everything. It was ridiculous.
It is a movie. Yeah, I think I am more excited for it. Like, I guess initially it was selling on sort of the idea of being able to manipulate everything in the city. And that's good, but it only takes you so far for the types of gamers that we are now, and the experiences that we're looking for.
And it showed more of the gunplay, so besides the pistol. So it's like shotgun due to the face and other stuff. So it's like, oh, I guess you can shoot dudes, even though I prefer to do non-lethal. But I think they said, you can't not kill everybody. So, well, if I can't kill everybody, I'll kill everybody.
That seems like an extreme.
It's like, well, if I can't be completely pacifistic, what's the point? I mean,
if he doesn't get to live, then no one does.
No one does. Yeah, basically, that's what it sounds like. Like, well,
he's just a regular thug.
He knew what he was getting into.
So is that it for the news, or is there anything else?
Oh, yeah, I think so. I'm really tired.
I would be too.
Well,
I think, the big news is coming next week. So, well, maybe. You would think. People getting together, game developers getting together, talking about the future of blah, 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 whatever it may be. So, yeah, that seems like news.
Alrighty, well, if you hadn't seen the Watch Dogs trailer, put your thoughts in the comments of what you thought, and, we'll totally discuss it and stuff on the next episode.
And we'll talk about you. So, just be prepared for that.
I could totally, respond to that RPG talking about somebody else because, hater, but, I'll just let it go. So, yeah.
Takes one to know one. Does it?
I don't know. Maybe.
Alright, so that's it for this week's Aimless news, and we hope you enjoyed it. Check us out on Aimless aimlesspodcast.com, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, wherever else on the internet we're at. And until you hear from us again, this was Aimless news for the week, and we're now signing off. Until next time. Goodbye.
Bye!
Yeah.